So, good morning and welcome to this interview on this beautiful April day with Carolina Marín Pedreño. We thought it would be fun to interview our partners during this rather exceptional period in our lives. And we're starting off with Carolina. So, Carolina, you graduated from the University of Murcia, Spain with a degree in law, having studied international family law at the University of Magna Graecia in Italy on a European Commission Erasmus scholarship. You qualified as a Spanish abogado in 2003 when you joined Dawson Cornwell, having won a second European Commission scholarship. You qualified as a European lawyer in this jurisdiction in 2004 and then subsequently qualified as a solicitor in 2006. In addition, you are the president of the Westminster Holborn Law Society, governor of the International Academy of Family Lawyers, and nominated recently as vice president. You are president of the Human Rights Commission and secretary of the Family Commission of the UIA, member of the International Committee of Resolution, founder and executive member of the International Association of Spanish-speaking jurists. You are elected executive member of the International Affairs of the Bar Association of Murcia, and founder and secretary of the Spanish Association of Collaborative Lawyers and co-chair of the European Family Justice Observatory. Now, few questions. Please describe your area of expertise.
Hi, Lisette. Thank you for taking this initiative. Really nice to see some colleagues during this time and to have an interview, even better. It's nice to have the opportunity to talk about the past and the future, where we are heading. Yeah. So yeah, great opportunity, and thank you again for the initiative. My expertise or my practice, I do family law, international family law. I will say that highlight because all my cases have an international element. So, and then within that spectrum, I do mostly children work.
And tell me about a typical client, if you have one, and you may act for such a variety that there is no such thing. Tell me about your clients.
Yeah, well, I will say that all of them are they are very well-traveled people, and all of them are involved in an international relationship. Or even if they are British, they are not living here, they are living in another country, mostly Spanish-speaking countries. That's why they contact me. So yeah, I think that will be something in common with all my clients. Yeah.
And you undertake both legally aided work and privately funded work. What are your views about the cuts in legal aid over the last 10 years, and how has it affected your clients?
Oh, that was devastating. I remember when I moved to this jurisdiction, one of the things that I more praised was access to justice. It was if you were not resident here and you have to, litigate here for a family issue, you could apply for legal aid and you could get granted legal aid on merits. So I was really shocked to see how dramatically it changed and how many people was excluded from access to justice. I remember I have clients that from one day to the other, they couldn't apply for legal aid and they have to be forced to be litigant in person, especially people that they have been made allegations of abuse against them, and then they are very frightened. People who are foreigners as well, that they don't understand the system, so they don't understand that you can go to court without a lawyer, that you can be a litigant in person. So it was quite remarkable for me. It was like, I don't know, it was like this ideal that I have about British justice suddenly for me was like a massive slap in the face in a matter of days, and how quickly everything changed. And still, I see that still in my practice. It's like a lot of clients who, once you explain the requirements and you say that they need to be victim of domestic violence, so they really say like, how can I apply for custody or care of my child, or how can I apply for this if I am not a victim of domestic violence? So yeah, massive changes.
And I suppose it's too early to see or to say how the new definition of domestic violence is going to impact that, because it still seems like it's a massive hurdle to evidence domestic violence. So whilst it's a big step forward, it's not a panacea.
Yeah, we were involved in a recent case that it was an appeal from Dawson, And in that case, it was coercive behavior and psychological abuse was one of the major terms of abuse in that case. And it was quite worrying the way that he was completely silent. And it was early days, well, not so early, but it was quite worrying, especially in the Central Family Court, that you could have a judge silent that kind of abuse.
Yeah. So tell me about your greatest legal achievement.
Oh. I am, like you say, I am from Murcia, Spain, south of Spain. I don't have any lawyers in my family. I always wanted to travel. I was always in love with England, the culture, the legal system. So my dream was to come to work in England. So I came to Dawson Cornwell, having got this award grant for the European Parliament. So I came to Dawson Cornwell for 6 months. So if I start there, I think my best achievement was to work for Marie Hutchinson. So those 6 months were unforgettable in all senses. And then it was the end of my last, I was getting close to the end. So I went to say goodbye to her. I said, how come, are you leaving? I said, yeah, I only was here for 6 months. And then a few days later, she asked me if I wanted to stay, and she spoke to the partners and they supported me to qualify as a solicitor. And that was the beginning. So for me, that was meeting her, having her as my mentor since, it's been amazing. Then achievement, becoming a partner. So it's like that friend that I came as a student, like newly qualified in Spain, doing everything to learn. For me, it was just learning, because I didn't know when it would be the end. So I thought that I would need to go back to Spain. And then a few more years later, when they offered me partnership, I will never forget that. For me, that trust gave me the uplift to be recognized as an English solicitor, not like the Spanish lawyer. So I am very grateful to my partners for that. I remember it was Peter Clark, John Cornwell, Rhiannon Lewis, and Russell and Marie. So that was a big achievement for me. And then I've been very lucky. Well, I'm lucky, I don't like to use the word lucky, but I have really good times. And some of them it was professionally, a lot of cases that has been rewarded. It's been like a lot of cases that I will never forget about them. And then in the profession, like founding the Association of Spanish speaking family lawyers, that was for me remarkable. That was in Santo Domingo, December 2018. It was 2018. So that was a big moment for me. Then also when I got the Jordan Award, International Lawyer of the Year, I was in Barcelona, so I couldn't go to get the award. So that was also the recognition. I think I always have that label because I was a foreigner that I will never be recognized. So the profession has shown me completely the opposite, that doing good work and having, you can be recognized. It's nothing to do with where you come from.
Oh, that's super. So tell us about a memorable case or moment in your career. You've obviously shared a few already, but is there a case or a particular moment?
Yeah, I have two of them. Two of them that is, I do a lot of child adoption work. So two of them is like, I will never forget about those. It's like one of them, it was quite well reported in the press. It was a Russian case, the first Russian case that we applied the 1996 convention with. And it was a lady, the mom, Rachel. I remember meeting her and I knew that woman will get her children back. She was she was very adamant that she will get them back. And very dramatic case. Those children were missing for a long time, and it was a lot of barriers within the Russian system for her to get the English orders recognized. But Rachel Neustadt, and then it was great because because of that case, I have the Times Lawyer of the Week or something. Yeah. So that was something that it was amazing, and it was really good case. I was supported in that case by Caroline Cora, our colleague that is on maternity. So we loved that case. It was technically very, very, and intellectually very challenging. And then emotionally unforgettable because of the kind of client that she was. and she is the kind of mom that she is. And the other one is very similar. It was a Ecuadorian mom that she was her child has been removed. They were living in Valencia. The child has been missing for 5 years. So we found the child in England, and the father removed the child from Valencia to Ecuador, Bolivia, Germany, and then from Germany came to England. So we got a collection order. That child was handed to our client after 5 years, and the proceedings were very sad because the child was completely alienated and didn't recognize the mom. But very humane, the way that she said, I don't need to care for her. I just need to know where she is and to be able to know how she's growing and what she's doing. But it was, I remember, it's like that kind of phone call when the police call you and say, we have the child, or the crime is with the child. You don't forget that, and you realize what an amazing profession we have.
Yes. Oh, wow. Goodness. So talking a little bit about being a dual qualified lawyer. So tell me about the challenges and the advantages to being a dual qualified lawyer.
It was the systems are completely different. Like I mentioned, legal representation in the continental system is compulsory. It's like you will always have a lawyer when you go to court. So the differences are very significant. So it's like even the figure of the barrister, the duty to the court. So I think it really helps when you have clients who come from those jurisdictions that you can explain the rules. Yes. You can explain to them what to expect. And the evidence, preparation of evidence, like you have to disclose everything. So I think that is an advantage. It's like having to be able to recognize the differences in the two systems, to know how the two systems work. It cannot be more than an advantage whenever you are dealing with an international case. Absolutely.
I mean, I was going to say that just having an understanding of how the civil law and the common law systems are so different, and being able to explain to a person used to civil law, using terms and words that they may understand about, to explain the common law, it's such a valuable skill. So, okay. And we are in a time where remote hearings are becoming more and more the norm. So do please share your thoughts on those and whether you think they may have an impact on access to justice, either good or bad, going forward.
Yeah, I think I am in different forums, international family lawyers, like we are in the UIA. So you can tell how quickly and how well England has adapted to the circumstances and have provided access to justice. I was quite shocked to see other jurisdictions that completely shut down the courts. Yes. So you couldn't make any application. So I remember it was like I was self-isolated from the 17th. I was involved in a child adoption case. We have the final hearing. It was the other side was a litigant in person. We have witnesses, Kafkas giving evidence, and I was really proud. I thought that fantastic. It's like we can continue to provide this service to the society. But I think in the long term, I'm very worried because in family law, such a humane field, you really need that contact. We have achieved so much in the corridors. When you talk to the other side, when you see parents that they haven't seen each other for a few weeks, and they end up they exchange something with the children, and they end up talking. So in child adoption cases, we have the privilege that we have now mediators in court. So I'm worried that if we, after this lockdown, if the system goes through that route, that using more remote hearings, I'm worried that we can achieve so much with the human contact, with being in court all together, that pressure of being in court, all of us, and then listening to the advice and realizing that you can achieve so much outside. You don't need to go inside and depend on the judge ruling. And in my experience so far, I miss that. Because we are all ready, we go in front of the judge by telephone, by video link. So we don't have that opportunity to have that conversation between colleagues to see what is happening, anything that we could agree here or there. Even that we have some conferences, but it's like, it's the human touch. Yeah. Is that body language, is that when you are nodding and you're realizing that there is an angle here, we could reach an agreement in that way. Yeah. So that's my worry. I think directions I think some hearings, they could be made remotely. I think that will be something good to do. It will be, and quite shocking for me that before it was so difficult to get a client who was abroad to participate in hearings, and now it's something so easy.
Yeah.
So I think I will like that. I would like to embrace that hopefully we don't need to make clients coming from abroad to be able to be part of their hearings. So, but I want to be very cautious with the abusing of that kind of hearings.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot that we practitioners need to contribute to that debate to make sure that it's not forgotten in the pragmatism of making the justice system work. So, and what changes or developments in international family law or children law can we expect to see in the near future, do you think?
I have been, I am involved. I've been invited to participate in a European project about recognition of mediation agreements.
Right.
So I think that's something that I think the European Commission is quite interested, and something that we should. That I can see that it's a lot of work to do, but I think it's something that it could make a massive difference. It's like having that reassurance that an agreement reaching mediation have the same kind of value than an order. So in England we don't have that problem, but in other jurisdictions you cannot mirror the same thing that you have written a mediation agreement in a term of an order. It's like you have an agreement or you have an order. So I think I can see things there, and then in parentage, we can see the lack of consistency. I have a very interesting case. It was two moms. One of them, the carrier of the child, was divorced, but she didn't register her divorce in Spanish consulate. So when they registered the birth of the child, her ex-husband was the parent, the father of this child, because of So it's like that parentage is like something that we need to pay a lot of attention. It's like, and provide consistency. It's like one child has the same parents in different jurisdictions. No, like in that case, they have two moms in England and one dad and one mom in Spain, depending on what country she lives.
That's really interesting. Thank you very much for sharing that. And just a couple of questions about you right at the end. Tell us about your favourite food, your favourite location in the world, perhaps a holiday location or maybe somewhere really special to you, and your favourite song. Okay.
Okay. I was expecting this. Okay. Favorite food. I think you will be surprised. Paella. Paella is like just the smell. Take me to Spain and take me home. I love paella. It's quite interesting because last night I cooked one, seafood paella, and my daughter doesn't like it. So. So my husband could see how much it hurt me when she said, "Oh, mommy, I don't like paella," and I said, "Oh, what happened if you end up living in Spain? You cannot say that." But it was I love paella. I love the Spanish food in general. It's a shame that I'm not a good cook. So it's also something of the positive things about going back home and eat all the food. So food, that and no doubt, favorite location. I love Sicily. I have been back to Sicily many times. I love Sicily, and especially with the Aeolic Islands in the north, like Stromboli, and beautiful. I love that part of the world. A lot. And song, Julio Iglesias. Any song from Julio Iglesias. I think I am very romantic. I really that
That's
kind
fantastic.
of old music, like Rafael, who is also a Spanish singer. I really, and also it reminds me a lot about my dad. So I think that is like the connection, maybe.
Oh, fantastic. Carolina, thank you so much for your time this morning. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and a little bit about your career. I'm sure it'll be of interest to a lot of people. So thank you very much. And enjoy that beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, amazing. We've been so lucky with the weather.
Oh,
thank
brilliant.
you, Lisette. Take care.
Bye.
See you.